Hey guys, welcome back. Today I wanted to do just a chatty get ready with me, and I wanted to recreate a makeup look that was my go-to look in 2021. And whenever I go back and look at pictures in my photos and I see this makeup look, I just love it so much. So I wanted to recreate it today. I'll just pop it up on screen so you can see what it looks like. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into this. I did already do my skincare off camera, so that's just been seeping into my skin, and I'm feeling like a little warm in this hoodie, so I'm gonna take it off. I went and got some breakfast sandwiches for Josh and I at the local gas station, like our convenience store that's close by. We got sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits. So it was kind of a little bit chilly outside, so I threw that hoodie on. But now that I'm home, I feel like I'm hot. I wanted to try the Milani Conceal Plus Perfect Blowout Out Stick, or Skin Tint Stick, with the e.l.f. Liquid Poreless Putty Primer. I just have like a little sample right now because I used my full size one up. So I figured I'd use this sample first before I go and repurchase like a full size of it again. But I do love this primer. It's one of my favorites. And yeah, I just wanted to see how it worked with this stick foundation. I have been loving this so much. It's just becoming one of my favorite foundations. This one and the Maybelline Superstay Lumi Matte, like those are my two go-to foundations right now. I do have this Milani stick foundation in shade 3, and it's a really awesome match for me right now. I do like to apply kind of a lot of this. Like I like to get a good medium coverage from this foundation. So and like I told you guys in my testing full face of new drugstore makeup, where I used this for it wasn't the first time that I used it, but the first time I used it in a video, I told you guys that I do prefer to apply this foundation with a sponge over a brush. I just find that with a sponge, it doesn't thin it out too much, surprisingly. It just looks better on the skin. I just found that when I used a brush, it almost wiped too much of the product off of my face, and then the rest of it just kind of sunk down in my pores, which is just not the look that I'm going for. So I just find it looks a lot more flawless with a makeup sponge. But it's like, obviously, back in 2021, I was not using this foundation because this foundation was not around. I think I was using like the Revlon Color Stay. Like that was my go-to foundation then. Or you know what? It might have also been the L'Oreal True Match Nude Serum Foundation. I had my foundations like over here on the shelf, so I'm sorry that I'm looking over there, but I just look at them to remember the names sometimes. But yeah, I used that L'Oreal Serum Foundation a lot then as well. Like I had discovered it, I think it was in 2021. I've been trying not to over apply my concealer. So I've just been doing like little dots. I guess I just have, it's so hard for me sometimes just to not over apply makeup products. For one, just because I love them, but two, like I just... it's like I come from the 2016 era or 2015, 2016, 2017 of just applying so much makeup that it's hard for me to break the habit. And, I've been doing makeup since, I don't know, like middle school. Of course, like in middle school when I was wearing makeup, it was more just like lip gloss and maybe a little bit of eyeshadow and mascara, you know what I mean? But I've definitely done different phases of makeup, of wearing like a lot of makeup, not as much makeup, but it's just hard sometimes to dial things back, especially if you are used to seeing yourself with a full face of makeup and just like real full coverage type products. But like, I turned 40 last year, and I need to remember that sometimes less is more with makeup, especially like as we get a little bit older and get some fine lines and stuff. It's like you don't want to apply too much to where it's going to start settling in your fine lines and just not looking good. But it's like I mainly just want to even out everything, like even out any redness, any like maybe sunspots or dark under eye circles, just things like that. So, and honestly, like overall my skin is pretty good, so I don't need to be piling stuff on when I don't need to. I'm gonna set all over the face with this e.l.f. pressed Halo Glow powder. I'm sorry if you can hear my stomach, it's like digesting that breakfast sandwich. And the shade that I'm using in this powder is Fair Warm. And I'm just using this large e.l.f. Which actually, now that I'm thinking about this, maybe I should apply my cream bronzer stuff before I do the powder. Let's do that. I do want to go ahead and set my under eyes though before we do the cream contour bronzer situation. So I'm just using the L'Oreal Infallible Blurfection powder, and I'm just applying that with this Sigma F35. Just slightly apply it to set that area. I don't want to apply too much, just enough to keep things from creasing. And I'm going to take this foundation off of my lips. And I'm just actually going to go ahead and apply the lip product that I'm going to wear today, just because it is a gloss. So I'm just using the Dior. This is one of their, I think, like lip glow glosses or something in the shade Mahogany. Which in my video that I posted a few weeks ago on my tinted lip balm collection, I was showing you guys like all of the ones that I have in my collection, and you guys were telling me that the Dior lip glows are a little bit different now. Like they kind of, I guess, reformulated them, and that makes me super sad. I haven't like tried any of the new formulated ones. Like you guys were saying that they don't really stain the lips anymore. Like they're not as dark. Like I don't know, are they still like pH adjusting? So I want to go to Ulta or Sephora and just swatch them and see what's going on with those. Because the Dior lip glows have been such a staple go-to product for me since before 2020, or like around the 2020 era. They're so good, like they're so moisturizing. I love that they leave a stain. They have gorgeous colors. I mean, they are expensive, I know that, but I really loved those. I thought they were so unique. So if they change them to be kind of like any other lip balm, it's like, that's just so, I don't know, I'm upset. But anyway, like I said, this is in Mahogany, the Dior lip gloss, and it's kind of like a cool toned brown. Like I find that this is more cool tones than their lip glow, like the lip balm in Mahogany. Like that is more like red, like a reddish brown, kind of like Clinique Black Honey, where this is a little bit more cool toned than Clinique Black Honey. I feel so 90s today with this necklace and like these little hair clips, and I don't know, I feel like I got 90s vibes happening. Okay, so on to the contour. Now, back in 2021, we didn't have these e.l.f. camo contour bronzers, but I was using the NYX powder blush in Taupe. I think this was like their HD powder blush, and I loved this back then. I still love it, but it is discontinued. So sometimes you can still find it on Amazon. Like, let's swatch real quick and see which one of these is a better dupe to this NYX HD blush, because I am kind of curious to know which is the better dupe. It's like probably a better way I should have done this was to thin the e.l.f. bronzers out a little bit, because they're so intense that you're not really getting the true effect. So this is the NYX HD Blush in Taupe, and then you've got the Fair bronzer and the Fair Light. Like, honestly, I feel like it's kind of in between those two, so maybe we'll mix those two today to kind of get that same effect where it's like cool tones but a little bit rosy. I'm gonna do Fair, like a dot of the Fair just here, and then we'll do a dot of the Fair Light. Okay. And then I'm just going to use this rounded angled brush from Amazon. I got it out of an Amazon brush set, so I'll have that link down below. But I love that set. I rave about it all the time. You guys probably get sick of me saying that every time I use these brushes, but yeah, I've never mixed these two colors together before, but they are really pretty mixed. Like, I go in my phases with trying to debate if I'm cool skin tone or warm skin tone. I've mentioned it several times, like in my videos. I want to make an appointment to get like my colors done, like the seasonal color analysis. But I'm kind of in my phase right now where maybe I'm like a cool tone season, but I'm in like my black, like wearing black and more neutral colors right now. I'm kind of in that phase. But I think those two colors just look beautiful together. Just like the perfect kind of contoured, like warm, cool situation. I mean, this is definitely more of a cool toned bronzer. So if you're really fair, I think both of these bronzers would be perfect. Hopefully I'm not applying too much of this. I tried to just do little dots, and then you can just do your makeup like that with the dots. But yeah, I've been just so obsessed with these e.l.f. camo bronzers. I just really like them. These two shades are just absolutely perfect for fair, light skin. Especially if you're leaning a little bit more like cool, like neutral cool. So I'm gonna add a little bit more of just fair, just like right here. But yeah, with that makeup look, I just did a cool toned bronzer, that NYX blush. I used it, you know, as like my bronzer contour. And then I just did a highlight. Like, I did not wear any blush. I wasn't wearing any blush in that picture. Shoot, man, the air kicked on. I was just seeing like what my contour was looking like from the side. But that was, it was getting a little bit cold. Okay, so I think that's good. I don't want to like over apply anything and it be too crazy. Gotta remember, less is more sometimes. And then I was using this CoverGirl True Blend Super Stunner palette, the middle shade. And this is, I guess, kind of discontinued. I can still find it like on Walmart, I think, and on Amazon. Sorry, I got like a little tickle in my throat. But like, honestly, if you can't have the, or if you can't find this highlight, or if you don't have it in your collection, just any kind of champagne type of highlight that's a bit more intense will work. Just, you know, whichever type of highlight that's just a little bit lighter than your skin that's really highlighted is really good for this. But sometimes with me, like, I love blush, don't get me wrong, but sometimes I just love a good bronzer or contour with a highlight with no blush. I just think it looks really pretty and almost a bit more natural. A little bit more like understated, which I guess this is like a good kind of 90s like way that I would have done my makeup back then, like just done a bronzer and a highlight. Just something really minimal and not really any blush on the face, which I don't really know if in the 90s I was really doing a highlight. It might have just been kind of bronzer. Just nothing like too crazy overdone. All right, so that is it like for the face makeup. And you know what? I just realized I totally forgot to set my foundation, which it looks really good not set, but let's just go over it lightly with this e.l.f. Halo Glow pressed powder. Just gonna lightly tap it just over everything. Sometimes I can't get used to the order of doing my bronzer and then my powder. And I know like with those e.l.f. Camo liquid blushes and bronzers, you can apply them over powder and it looks fine, but I just think that, I don't know, sometimes I think it does look a little bit better to apply it before the powder. Now I'm moving on to the brows, and I'm honestly not for sure like what brow product I was using then. Probably like the NYX Micro Brow, because that has just been like a long time favorite for me. But I'm going to use my current favorite for my eyebrows. So I'm just going to brush them up. And I'm going to first go in with the Maybelline Build-A-Brow and the gel side. I like to brush my brows up first, just so I can kind of get them in the direction that I want them to go before I go in with the pen. Because sometimes if I go in with the pen first and then brush my hairs up, it can just like create gaps and stuff. So just like to brush them up and then just fill in any gaps this way. Which I will say that I have been trying to use the L'Oreal Faux Brow a little bit more. Like, let's go in with this again. Like, I know in my testing new drugstore makeup video, or like full face of new drugstore makeup, I said I wasn't super thrilled with this, but I do like it some days whenever I use it. It's like one of those brow products that I feel like some days I use it and I don't like the way my brows look, and then other days I use it and I love the way that my brows look. So I don't know if this is a favorite product yet, but it is growing on me. Like, I am liking it a little bit more than I was initially. And it is a bit messy, like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, see, like, sometimes, like, the little strokes get down too far, and I'll show you, like, what I do to kind of clean that up. But I find that since it does, like, the brows a little bit more haphazardly, that it looks sometimes a little bit more natural. So I'll just get the Q-tip a little bit damp and then just kind of go over these areas, like where maybe when I've drawn the brow hairs it's went down too far or it looks a bit off. And then sometimes I'll go back with the Maybelline Build-A-Brow and just kind of fill in areas where there's some gaps or it doesn't make sense. So I don't know. I definitely don't hate that L'Oreal brow, faux brow. I think there is a little bit of a learning curve with it. I mean, to be honest, there's a little bit of a learning curve with just learning how to use these brow pens in general. But definitely that L'Oreal faux brow is a bit tricky. And I feel like if you had very thin brows, it probably would be really hard to use since the little prongs are like spaced out. Like the pins, you know, are spaced out. Because if you haven't seen it, it's like they're spaced out like this. So if your brows are thinner than this is spaced out, it could be a bit awkward. Like my tail gets a little bit thin, so sometimes it looks a bit weird, but sometimes I feel like it kind of fills it out a bit and makes my brows look a bit fuller. So I do like that. Now let's do the eyes, and I'm just gonna prime with the Milani eyeshadow primer. And this is going to be a very simple eye look. I'm only using 2 eyeshadows to create this look. So this is a great like everyday, just like quick makeup look. So it's probably why it was like my go-to look in 2021. For the eyeshadow on the lid, I'm going to be using this Maybelline Single Shadow in the Glow Down, I believe. Yeah, Nude Glow, not the Glow Down. Just looks like this, and as you can see, like I've used a ton of it. So I'm going to use the little sponge applicator, and I feel like I've got some of that Milani eyeshadow primer was caked up there. I'm just going to use the little eyeshadow sponge that comes with this palette, and I put it all over the lid, and also take this shade up into the crease. And then I'm going to go back with like a blending brush and just blend the edges of this out. But this shadow in Nude Glow is just the perfect one and done eyeshadow. It's one of my absolute faves. So I'm just going back with the blending brush, and I'm using this Profusion brush. It's just like the dual ended one that I got out of one of the Profusion eyeshadow palettes. So sometimes I'll get a little bit more of that color on the tip of the blending brush and just go around the edges just to really blend that shade out. It's just such a gorgeous color. Like, I don't know, I love this color on me. I think it suits my skin tone really well. And I feel like this color is really flattering on a lot of different people. So today is Saturday, and I'm not 100% for sure like what Josh and I are gonna get into. He's currently at the grocery store right now. But the weather is not supposed to be the greatest this weekend, so. And then for the highlight shade, I was using the Milani Brow Fix Brow Kit, and I was using that highlight shade in this kit. Now, I know that this is also like another discontinued product. I can still get it off of Amazon, and that's where I got this one. It's like brand new, basically. But if you don't have that and you want a similar color, the Wet n Wild Walking on Eggshells, the cream shade in this is a very similar color to the highlight shade in that Milani Brow Fix Brow Kit. So I'll just use the Wet n Wild one today. And I'm just applying it with this angled brush from e.l.f. So just up on the brow. And then in the inner corner. Which I'll have to look at that picture again. I'm not for sure if I put any of like Nude Glow on my lower lash line. Like I can't remember exactly what I did. Whoops. let's check this photo out and see. Okay, yeah. I didn't have anything on the lower lash line, like no mascara, no eyeshadow. So we're not gonna put anything there. So that is it with like the eyeshadow. So very simple, really pretty for every day. I'm just gonna mist my face with my makeup setting spray, and I'm just gonna use the Urban Decay All Nighter. Alright, and then off camera, I just did my mascara, and I used the Maybelline Sky High in Cosmic Black. This was my favorite mascara then, and I still love this mascara. It's one of my all-time faves. So this is the final look. So just like one of my go-to signature looks, and I need to wear this makeup look more often because I really like this. I think it's really beautiful day to day. And I did want to show you guys like a different lipstick. So I do remember that this was like the lipstick that I would wear, which this is a lip liner. But this is what I would wear when I wanted my lips to look a bit darker than just like with the gloss. So I was just into like really cool toned like lip colors. So let's take this gloss off. And I might actually try this lip liner with this lip gloss. I know I never really wore it with that then. Like I didn't really pair the two together, I don't believe. Maybe I did. I don't really remember now. But this is the Maybelline Color Sensational Shaping Lip Liner in Gone Garage. So this is more of like a gray toned kind of mauve, which I know that this lip color isn't for everybody. Like it can kind of give more of like a gothic sort of vibe, which I do kind of like that vibe sometimes. But yeah, I really love this Gone Garage lip liner. I think it is a really great cool toned lip liner. Like if you like cool toned lip colors and you haven't tried this yet, I highly recommend it. I think it is so good. But let's top this gloss over this Dior in Mahogany. But yeah, those two also pair really nicely together. So that is this makeup look completed. If you guys enjoyed this, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.